Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Wednesday, January 6, 2016. Ra and Black Wolf in the Lynn-Life, Betty Jean in the Jamie Body Mind, other teammates in other dimensions, most of us in the subatomic and most of us in the physical dimension. We've been getting a strong underline this morning about what we're actually doing here. We are doing experiments, collecting data on what it will actually take to manifest the divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul plans, all of our soul plans in the spirit world, commit all of us to doing. As always, the foundational intention is to do what is ours to do right now in all dimensions, to manifest the divine plan. The data that's been gathered so far very clearly showing what's needed is to provide a collective restart, and to do that with a deadline assigned to it. The deadline being assigned as January 17th, 2017 for that collective restart, and the next deadline in front of us being January 16th, 2016. With that, the videoed portions of today's efforts begin. What now?
What now?
What now? What now? In order to fulfill our destinies and manifest the divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. What now? I'm sitting in someone's office, and it has the sense of being a very big office. My feet just dangle over the edge of the chair.
That's true.
And they're asking a question that sounds like, "What do you know?" But I know what they mean. In order for deadlines to be effective, we need to know what the assignment is, to believe it's possible, but for it to stretch us.
That's true.
And what's obviously missing? What's obviously missing is that we don't know what the assignments are for January 16th, 2016.
That's true.
Which is less than 2 weeks away.
Yep.
What would game theory say? Game theory would say there is an assignment both for the projects, the active project in this case being Thing 1, and for the Search for Truth community as a whole, and for each of us as members of the Search for Truth community as individuals.
That's true.
That's right. And what do we know so far? If I were a betting person, I would say the assignment for Thing 1 is to get that fantasy land at the top of Thing 1 completely emptied out and moved through the portal of peace.
That's true.
By January 16th, 2016. By sunset on January 16th, 2016. I don't feel anybody correcting me.
No, not yet.
So that's the direction we'll head in our thinking about the Thing 1 project. And the question is now, and for the Search for Truth community as a whole, which implies that that's good enough for Thing 1, a good enough understanding of the assignment.
That's true.
Game theory would say for the Search for Truth community as a whole, to reach down, to dig down, to drill down, to open the base of our pillar up to truth, which will propel all of us forward on our soul plans, and in such a way manifest the divine plan, or at least in such a way upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan.
That's true.
And the voice says, that's right. And then obviously for every single one of us without exception, there are personal goals as well. Nothing else makes sense.
That's true.
And it's easier to see the personal goals of our companions than it is to see our own personal goals, and how wonderful it is to have a community of partners on the path working together in this project of spirit to manifest the divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, working to discern what's true.
That's
because
true.
they can help us see what we're blind to in ourselves. And they're asking right now, how are the drilling efforts going in Search for Truth? Halting steps,
That's
slow
true.
steps. it feels like not wanting to make a mistake and therefore moving very slowly.
That's true.
So to drill bit and to Asha and also to this presence who feels vaguely like it might be a dead planet, a quote unquote, a
Yes.
planet where all the life, all the other sentient life has been wiped away, usually through some combination of arrogance and cowardice and
That's
laziness
true.
and
Selfishness.
and lying.
That's true.
And that the only sentience left is the planet itself.
That's true.
It's been referred to in the past in these situations as stone cold rock falling through space.
That's true.
And it seems as though that's what this presence is at a subatomic level that Drillbit and Asha happened upon when they were off course.
Yes, it's true.
Ah, right. So just as this presence presumably can see our craziness being new to our community, it's possible we can help this presence see what's been holding, it feels kind of male,
Yeah, it's
what's
true.
been holding him back in his own personal growth path.
That's true.
What do I know? I know that none of us ever want to accept that we ourselves are responsible for the disasters of our lives. That's true for me. It's true for everyone else I've ever run into. We all wish that the disasters in our lives were caused by forces external to us.
That's true.
But that isn't ever how it works.
No.
And we've been getting a lot of messages this last 12 and 24 hours about how the things that we've done in the past, in past incarnations, really come back to bite us in a powerful way. What do I know? It's likely that this new planetary consciousness, or this planetary consciousness who's new to our community, has made a series of errors that have led to the life on that planet being destroyed.
That's true.
And that those errors are very painful for this presence to consider. And therefore there is some reluctance to consider those errors.
That's true.
But that being in a presence of someone who doesn't want to examine the truths about themselves can cloud the airspace and receptivity of those in the presence.
That's true.
And so if Asha and Drillbit, if Asha's having a hard time finding her way, there's a reason for it. And she can see that Probe is right above her, so that's not what's gone wrong.
That's true.
It's very possible we need to invite up this planetary consciousness to come up out of the drilling down zone and up into what we call below sea level and begin the work.
That's true.
And begin the work, and the work begins by moving in a circle to create a vortex. And here's your broom, is our standard greeting.
That's true.
Here's your broom. Get sweeping. Just like everybody else, the rules apply to all of us, and as we begin to sweep the ambient lies of our airspace, we begin to see what kinds of lies are common. And when we can see that these are patterns that are shared by all sentiences, we start to feel a little less embarrassed about having these error patterns ourselves.
That's true.
And we begin to become more ready to let out the deep dark secret that is secret mostly to ourselves.
That's true.
That we messed up, and then to acknowledge our errors and correct them.
Feels like that big presence is rolling his way up the levels.
Yes. And he's coming into the airspace and being greeted by presences who know of the pattern. Maybe
That's
they don't
true.
know him,
But they know the feeling.
of yes, my Uncle Charlie, he had this pattern.
Yes.
Uh,
And I had this pattern. Even some of them.
yes.
Like, oh, I'm working on this too.
Right, come over here, let's work on it together.
That's
is the
true.
feeling. And now that it lightens the burden, just to know that this is a pattern that others have.
That's true.
Lightens the burden. Now, of course, that presence still needs to do the work.
That's true.
Let's see if Asha and Drill Bit are doing better now.
Having clearing feelings in the head.
Asha is picking up trash. It looks like trash. Trash probably left behind, as we all leave trash behind in our wake when we aren't willing to acknowledge what's going on.
That's true.
This is trash that presence left behind, and as that starts to clear, it feels like the drilling is going to speed up. I could be having wishful thinking.
It sounds like it's speeding up already.
It does. I hear the hum going faster.
That's true.
Upward flow. Boom, boom, boom. How deep must we reach in order to find truth that propels all of us forward on our soul plans? The point of phrasing the question in an inclusive way is that we don't want to find truth that propels me forward but doesn't help all of us.
That's
We're
true.
looking for truth that propels all of us forward on our own individual soul plans,
That's true.
creating lives of joy and worlds that work. Wiser minds above have interwoven our individual soul plans to create a tapestry of life and sentience that actually does work. We just have to do our parts.
That's true.
If we find truth upon which we can all base our lives, and truth which propels all of us forward on our soul plans, a proactive truth, maybe, just maybe, we'll have enough integrity that we can actually manifest the divine plan. As members of the leadership community, it's incumbent upon us to watch all the other members of the leadership community, because we can trip up fast and then things go bad in a big way very quickly, and in 2 hours' time we can do a lot of damage.
That's true.
And so to be aware of the state of our fellow leadership group members is really important.
That's true.
Let's tune for the needs of the greater good, mattering more than the needs of any individual or group. I see how to these young children in larger dimensions who are the highest concentrations of truth and integrity that we're able to connect with right now.
Yeah.
We're probably like little toys, like little tiny Polly Pockets,
That's
except
true.
we're moving.
That puts me in mind of the big Lego loose, who had these little action figures, little plastic action figures that were us. It's a very similar perspective.
Yeah.
That's true.
Bing. That's it. It's a compassionate feel. It's like in that
Yes.
scene in Sixth Sense. Maybe it was a deleted scene where the little boy is playing with soldiers and he knows
That's
all
true.
about them. Toy soldiers, plastic soldiers, he knows all about them.
That's true.
It's got that sense. And he cares about them, and he
Yes.
tries to make it right for them.
Yes.